While the rest of the world continues to say, let's tamp down this talk of impending doom in Ukraine as negotiations continue with Russia, between the U.S. and other European countries, the Biden administration continues to signal war.
The United States will soon move additional forces to Romania, Poland, and Germany. I want to be very clear about something. These are not permanent moves. They are moves designed to respond to the current security environment. Moreover, these forces are not going to fight in Ukraine. They are going to ensure the robust defense of our NATO allies.
Do we really think that NATO needs this increased military presence? And NATO itself, Colonel Smith, has not, in fact, activated their troops, the NATO troops, which are about 40,000.
Our troops that are being sent under U.S. orders. NATO has not requested them. I think what he's trying to do is a show of force. It's questionable to me whether or not it's an appropriate time to have this kind of a show of force.
Okay, they're going to go to Poland. They're going to go to Romania. Why?
NATO allies,
Why?
right.
Why are they going there when
Right.
the conflict's in Ukraine? We think we're going to scare off Russia, who has over 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border.
Putin is not going to invade a NATO country. So having
Right.
more troops there serves absolutely no purpose. And as a military guy, my question is, they say never pull a gun unless you're planning on shooting someone. You don't send combat troops anywhere unless you intend to use them in a combat role.
Look, we're trapped into this whole process in Washington, D.C., where every time there's a crisis, we put forward military, Pentagon, boots on the ground options. We have dismissed the State Department. We've allowed our diplomats to be very weak. When a diplomat is strong and tough and uses diplomacy with muscle, they're mocked as being undiplomatic. And I would argue that our diplomats are what ensures that we don't have war.
I just want this explained. I mean, I don't know if I like the explanation or not, but I think that all these moves, and we cut war. Why 8,000? Why an additional 3,000? What does that really? That's not sending a huge message to a Putin who's put 100,000 troops on the board. And why can't we get NATO to come together? Because that does send the message. That's what really scares Putin. At least that's the boogeyman he's using.
These movements are unmistakable signals to the world that we stand ready to reassure our NATO allies and deter and defend against any aggression. Shouldn't
our NATO allies be reassuring us right now? Why are we reassuring them when it's in their backyard, and they have not yet called up their forces?
I think that the parts of NATO that we're trying to reassure are the eastern parts, especially those four countries that used to be part of the Soviet Union, like Romania and Poland. We're reassuring them because on the other side of NATO, allies like Germany are weak and vacillating. We can't even get Germany to agree to not buy gas and oil from Russia. So I think Putin's goal is to create disunity in NATO. We're trying to create unity, but we're having a difficult time with that. But Putin's goal is to create disunity, and so far, he's achieving that goal.
The real sanctions have not been put in place, the preemptive sanctions here. What is the sense in Washington on the Hill right now about this?
About 2 weeks ago, the sanctions that you're talking about that had bipartisan support in the United States Senate, they were sponsored by Senator Cruz, but they had the support of a number of Democrats. Ultimately, they only got to 55 votes, but I can tell you, Jordan, initially the support was somewhere in the 70s in the United States Senate. Now, why did those sanctions not pass when they came to the floor of the Senate? This is going to sound shocking, but this is just the truth. They didn't pass because Vladimir Putin and President Biden asked the Senate not to pass them. That's the truth. President Zelensky was in favor of those sanctions. They had support somewhere in the 70s in the United States Senate. But at the end of the day, on the same day that President Biden came to the Hill to tell Democrats he wanted to do away with the filibuster, he got more than 40 Democrats to filibuster a sanction bill on Nord Stream 2.
Why in the world do we not have sanctions on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? The pipeline is not up and running. You want to change the Russian behavior, sanction their money pit and their influence, and that is the pipeline.
So all these moves, we keep saying, we're going to try to scare off Vladimir Putin. How were we doing that with 3,000 troops? I mean, we move those kind of troops around. Again, I get that there's some message sending here, but without the threat of we talk about sanctions. No one has ever, they keep saying it's the most devastating sanction in history. No one's explained what those are, Wes. I mean, we don't even know what that means.
Without preemptive sanctions, before he invades, we have nothing to put on the table to stop him.
The 3,000
Once he's there, he's there.
in Romania are not doing that.
No, but 3,000 troops from Romania will help Romania. But the Russians aren't going to attack
But that's
Romania.
not what they're looking
The
at.
Chinese are going to go in, probably. I hope this doesn't happen. They're going to go into Taiwan, and I think
Post-Olympics.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
post-Olympic. Yeah, you know what? Even there, I've wondered. You know, there are some people there's some discussions going on in some of the think tanks in Washington that this may all go on during the Olympics.
Does this troop movement mean anything? Or is it still really about the pipeline? That if Russia has Nord Stream 2 and that's not touched and they're not really willing to stop that, then what other sanctions would even work? And are 3,000 troops going to mean anything to Russia?